flame on her knee. That's how you identify this spider. Brachypelma baumgarteni, the Mexican orange beauty tarantula, one of the rarest tarantulas on Earth. And she only exists in one tiny corner of Mexico. In the pet trade, this tarantula is everywhere. Captive bred, supposedly. But in the wild, scientists can barely find them. We searched for days, for hours during each day. Every burrow, every hollow, looking for one spider. Nothing. And then we found her. Not in a burrow, not under a rock. This tarantula had a very special way of presenting itself to us. 1,000 of these tarantulas were traded in a decade. Scientists can barely find them. We just did exactly that. We spent hours searching for one of Mexico's rarest tarantulas. Found something completely unexpected instead, and then, out of nowhere... Southeastern Michoacán in Mexico, the Sierra Madre del Sur. We're in the only place on Earth where Brachypelma baumgarteni, the Mexican orange beauty, exists in the wild. This species is classified as endangered by the IUCN, and it lives in deciduous forests in an area smaller than most cities. And almost nobody has filmed them in their natural habitat. The plan today is simple. Find burrows, locate Brachypelma baumgarteni, document them properly. These are fossorial tarantulas. They live on the ground. So we're looking for burrows between tree roots, in the soil, anywhere they might dig in. Baumgarteni burrows have no silk around the entrance. Unlike most tarantulas, they leave no trace. You can walk right past one and never know. Alright, so what we've got looks like a burrow here. A classic location between the roots of large trees, and let's see if anyone's home. The technique is gentle stimulation at the entrance. If there's a tarantula inside, the vibrations often bring them up and they try to investigate. Look at this, the contrast on those legs. These browns, these stripes, that's not Brachypelma baumgarteni. This looks like an Aphanopelma. This is completely different from what we were expecting. A beautiful specimen, but not our target species. Still, finding any tarantula in the first burrow is a good sign. The habitat is healthy, and there's more here. This isn't what we came for. Brown body, striped legs, definitely not the Baumgarteni. But here's the thing about Mexican tarantulas. They share habitat. Different species, same hillside, same burrow types, same prey, just different lineages. This looks like an Aphanopelma. That genus, if you can even call it that anymore, is one of the biggest taxonomic messes in arachnology. For decades, Aphanopelma was basically a dumping ground. Any brown tarantula from North or Central America that didn't obviously belong somewhere else, just call it Aphanopelma. Recently, scientists started pulling it apart. DNA work showed its actual multiple genera crammed together. One group, Dugesiella, was just restored as its own genus in 2022. Okay, let's keep looking. Baumgarteni has to be out here somewhere. What followed was hours of the same routine. Find a burrow, tickle the entrance. The deciduous forest in dry season is unforgiving. The searching is meticulous, exhausting, and Baumgarteni remains invisible. And you start to wonder, are they even active right now? Are we in the right microhabitat? This is what fieldwork actually looks like. Not every search ends in discovery. So what is this spider? Honestly, without examining the male's pulpal bulb under a microscope, without DNA sequencing, I can't tell you. Nobody can. That's the reality of tarantula taxonomy. But I can tell you this. It's beautiful. It's wild. It evolved here alongside the Brachypelma baumgarteni, and someday, when someone does the work, it will have a proper name. For now, it's just the neighbor. Let's move him off the road a little so he doesn't get run over. There's just a nice rock down there, and it's a great contrast to taking pictures and videos. We positioned him on a rock a few meters from the road. Better lighting, safer location, standard field photography. But wait, what is that? There's a tarantula just sitting there in the open, right next to the rock, right there in the field. That's not the Aphanopelma. Look at the legs. Look at those patella. That's Brachypelma baumgarteni, the orange beauty. She's just sitting here, maybe 5 meters from where we placed that male. We spent hours searching burrows, and she's just out, in the open, in broad daylight. As we want to take some better pictures and videos, I'm going to pick her up really gently. This is Brachypelma baumgarteni, the Mexican orange beauty tarantula. One of only 2 endangered Brachypelma species, and she just appeared out of nowhere after all those hours. This is how it happens, not in a burrow, not from careful excavation, just sitting in a field, waiting to be found. Brachypelma baumgarteni, an adult female, body length around 65 millimeters, endemic only to this region of Michoacán, west of the Balsas River. The diagnostic feature, this flame-shaped orange pattern on the patella, the knee segment, surrounded by yellowish coloration, not solid orange like her sister species Burrow, just this concentrated flame shape. Another identification marker are the diagonal yellowish line running down the metatarsus, most visible on legs 1 and 4. And the carapace shows black in the center with pink or orange borders. Male, by contrast, have mostly orange carapace, significant sexual dimorphism. What makes this species so vulnerable isn't just collection pressure, it's geography. Baumgarteni exists only here, this specific pocket of deciduous forest in southern Michoacán, nowhere else on the planet. The Balsas River just to the east acts as a biogeographic barrier. On the other side lives Burrow, the fire-leg tarantula, same ancestor, completely different species, separated by water and millions of years of evolution. As with other Brachypelma species, these were traded between 2006 and 2016, and over 1,000 Baumgarteni were traded internationally, all reportedly captive bred. Yet field researchers still struggle to find them in the wild. The contrast tells a story. This is the reality of tarantula taxonomy. A lot of species we know and keep were first brought to science through the pet trade, and often illegally. The names we use sometimes commemorate the people who depleted wild populations. It doesn't change how beautiful this animal is. It doesn't change its conservation value. But it's part of the history. And when we keep these species, we inherit that history. Today, all Brachypelmas are CITES Appendix 2. Collection from the wild without permits is illegal. But enforcement is difficult. Demand is high, and species like Baumgarteni, with tiny ranges and no population monitoring, remain vulnerable. If you keep the species, know what you have, know where it comes from, know what's at stake. She could live another 10 years. Brachypelma females are among the longest lived spiders on Earth, easily 20-25 years old. Males, different story, 7 or 8 years just to reach maturity. Then one final molt, one breeding season, and it's over. Maybe a year of wandering around, then death. It's why we found that male on the road. Breeding season, he's searching, he has maybe months left. And it's why losing adult females to collection hits populations so hard. You're not taking one spider, you're taking decades of reproductive potential. There's something I should tell you about this species, about how it got its name. Brachypelma baumgarteni was described in 1993 by Andrew Smith, a British arachnologist. He named it after a German man called Mark Baumgarten. Baumgarten was what Smith called a trader, breeder, collector. He provided specimens. He provided information. Without him, Smith says, he couldn't have written the Brachypelma section of his reference book. We came looking for one species, found 2, spent hours in frustration. Then had the target animal appear in the most unlikely way, almost like she wanted to be seen by us and documented. That's fieldwork. Another target species of Brachypelma on this trip. Brachypelma baumgarteni here in the wild in Mexico. It's a huge adult female, so far the biggest Brachypelma specimen we found. Probably quite an old one. And take some pictures and videos, of course, and then release her back in nature. This one specifically was named after a German collector
who collected this specimen in 1980, 1990, before it got scientifically described. Today, collection of tarantulas in the wild without permits is frowned upon. Earlier in the days, you were the hero when you did it, because that's how tarantula hobby started. But now we know better. Mexico has its own breeding program for Brachypelma species, and they export these amazing tarantulas, captive bred in Mexico, to the world. So no need to collect them anymore in the wild illegally, and therefore we are happy to document them here in the wild, happy to see them, take pictures, videos, and now put her back.
It's like looking at a family separated by geography. Same ancestors, different addresses, millions of years of isolation written into their genes. And after a day like that, there's only one appropriate ending. The Sierra Madre del Sur, some home of the orange beauty tarantula, and apparently some pretty good tacos.